This week on Moving Markets, another Malaysian company faces accusation of using forced labour. Retail trading on the local stock market is slowing down. Let's see why. The world's largest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions now wants to be carbon neutral by 2060. And with 32 days left before Americans choose their new president, how much more volatile will markets get? FGV Holdings looks like it's in some hot waters. The United States is banning imports of its palm oil products. Apparently, the US Customs and Border Protection conducted an investigation which found that FGV uses forced labor on its plantations. This reportedly includes abuse, intimidation, and retention of identity documents. FGV responded to the ban by saying it has taken concrete steps to uphold labor standards. Based on last year's annual report, the group gets about 5% of its revenue from the US and Canada. So although it won't hurt bottom lines too much, it may hurt its reputation and credibility. The share price fell 10% on the back of this news. To make matters worse, the surge in ESG investing has also meant more investors are staying away from the likes of FGV. The other thing to watch here is not just FGV, but all the palm oil players will be affected by the outbreak of COVID-19, which is quite concentrated in Sabah at the moment. Sabah is, after all, the second largest palm oil producer state in Malaysia, and if the outbreak causes more restrictions there, it could adversely affect operations. But ironically, any disruption does mean higher palm oil prices. In mid-August, Bursa Malaysia saw a surge in trading volumes, hitting a record high of close to 18 billion units traded. But Malaysia is in a recession. So why was the bourse seeing so much interest? Where was the interest coming from? Well, it turns out this wasn't unique to Malaysia. We saw this trend emerging all over and especially in the US. People were staying home more, and stimulus plans meant that some recipients might have a bit more cash and time on their hands to dabble in a bit of trading. So the same trend could be seen here in Malaysia. But now that the blanket loan moratorium has come to an end, will interest from this group of traders still hold? Apparently not, because volumes on Bursa have started falling. Of course, there could be other reasons. Savvy investors might be profit-taking, so that means they're locking in their gains. And then there's psychology. So if you start thinking many other people will start trading less post the moratorium, you might start behaving that way too. No one wants to be last in the race, so people start selling if they think everyone else is going to do it. China, the second largest economy in the world, announced that it's going carbon neutral by 2060. This is significant because China is one of the world's largest consumer of fossil fuels and produces more than a quarter of the world's carbon emissions. Let's be clear, this is a lofty goal, and right now we have yet to see concrete plans. But this could have wider market implications because it signals the kind of policies China might implement. So we're talking about pushing a green economy agenda, especially for electric vehicles. Could it be good news for the likes of NIO and Li Auto, which are some of the country's top electric car makers? Right now, electric cars only make up about 5% of auto sales in China, so there's still a lot of room for growth. On Wednesday morning Malaysian time, we saw the first presidential debate between incumbent President Donald Trump and the Democratic candidate, former Vice President Joe Biden. And I think it's fair to say most people found it to be rather chaotic. Now, the debate itself didn't quite move markets, but it's likely that markets will see increased volatility until November 3rd when the Americans finish polling. Remember, markets just don't like uncertainty. And although the polls are pointing to a Joe Biden win, 2016, remember that when those same polls predicted a Hillary Clinton win and turned out to be wrong? And that's what has been moving markets this week.